The courtroom was buzzing with quiet anticipation, a tense hum of whispers and shuffling papers. Judge Caprio sat at the bench, his expression calm but alert, eyes scanning the packed room. Reporters held microphones forward, pens scribbled furiously, and spectators leaned forward, sensing the storm about to unfold. In the center of it all was Victoria Richards, the senator's wife, seated with her back perfectly straight, exuding confidence as if she owned the place. The clerk cleared his throat. All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Caprio presiding. Everyone stood, and Judge Caprio nodded for them to be seated. His gaze fell on Victoria, who smiled faintly, unbothered by the formality. Ms. Richards, Judge Caprio began, his voice even but commanding, we are here today to review allegations regarding unlawful construction and violation of municipal regulations. Your counsel may present the opening statement. Victoria's lawyer, a man in his 40s with a meticulously pressed suit, straightened his tie and began, Your Honor, my client. Before he could finish, Victoria interrupted, leaning slightly forward. Actually, Your Honor, I don't think I need a lawyer for this. Laws, as a concept, don't really apply to me anyway. Her voice cut through the murmurs of the courtroom like a knife. A stunned silence followed. Judge Caprio blinked once, almost in disbelief. Excuse me. Victoria's lips curved into a faint, confident smile. I said laws don't apply to me, Your Honor. My husband ensures that I remain above it all. Surely, you understand the reality of such influence. A ripple of whispers spread through the room. Reporters leaned closer, eager to catch every word. Spectators shook their heads, some audibly, others in silent disbelief. Even the bailiffs exchanged a glance, unsure if they had heard correctly. Judge Caprio adjusted his glasses, his jaw tightening slightly. Ms. Richards, let me be perfectly clear, this is a court of law. Everyone here is subject to its authority, including you. No one is exempt. Victoria leaned back in her chair, folding her arms casually. Your Honor, I do respect the court, but let's be honest. I am married to one of the most powerful senators in the country. Influence, power, precedent, these things matter. You must see that the law is, in many cases, flexible for someone like me. The judge's eyes narrowed, his voice firm. Ms. Richards, arrogance does not exempt anyone from legal responsibility. The law is not subject to wealth, status, or political connections. If you think otherwise, you are gravely mistaken. Victoria chuckled softly, a sound like silk brushing over marble. Mistaken, I think you underestimate the realities of power, Judge. Most people in your position would hesitate. They would find reasons to avoid conflict with someone like me. You seem remarkably confident. Judge Caprio's voice rose slightly, commanding attention. Confidence is not arrogance. This courtroom operates on evidence, statutes, and precedent, not intimidation, not social standing. Threats, suggestions of influence, or claims of untouchability are irrelevant here. I will not be swayed by them. Victoria leaned forward again, her eyes glinting with a mixture of amusement and challenge. Irrelevant, Your Honor, let's not pretend you are naive. Influence shapes outcomes, shapes decisions. You and I both know the truth. Laws may be written to apply to everyone, but they are enforced selectively. That's reality. A faint murmur ran through the courtroom. The spectators sensed a rare confrontation between unshakable judicial authority and a figure used to bending the world to her will. Judge Caprio remained calm, though inside a surge of indignation rose. He had faced arrogance before, but Victoria Richards carried it like armor. Ms. Richards, he said slowly, measured, this court does not negotiate with presumptions, with power, or with fear. It rules on facts. You will find that assertions of being untouchable carry no weight here. You may be wealthy, influential, and connected, but those qualities do not grant immunity from accountability. Victoria tilted her head, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Accountability? Do you really think a judge like you, in a court such as this, can touch someone like me? The backlash alone would be unimaginable. Media, political pressure, public opinion, all against you if you dare rule against me. Surely you have felt the weight of influence before. Judge Caprio leaned forward, voice now cutting with unyielding authority. I have felt nothing that compares to bending the law for the privileged. This courtroom exists to enforce justice, not to cower under pressure. Threats or suggestions of consequence will not alter the application of law here. You will learn that no one stands above the law, Ms. Richards. Victoria smirked, leaning back with her characteristic poise. You are fearless. I admire that, truly. But fearlessness does not ensure results. You may be steadfast, but the world is flexible. Outcomes often favor those who wield influence. The judge's hand tapped the gavel lightly, punctuating his words. Enough. Threats and implications of influence are not tolerated in this court. If this continues, I will not hesitate to hold you in contempt. Victoria's smirk faltered, just for a heartbeat. She quickly recovered, speaking with the same air of entitlement. Contempt, is that supposed to intimidate me? I have lived my life surrounded by threats, most far more consequential than words. Judge Caprio allowed a measured, tight smile. Then let us be clear. This courtroom operates on the law and evidence. Your life experiences, your threats, your sense of immunity are irrelevant. The case concerns your unlawful construction and disregard for municipal regulations. That is the focus. Victoria studied him, an unusual flicker of uncertainty in her gaze. You are unlike anyone I've faced before, Your Honor. Most judges would have cowered, or at least bent a little. But you resist. Admirable, though I wonder how long it will hold. Judge Caprio leaned back, still composed, yet with a sharp edge in his voice. Resistance is not choice, it is duty. I am here to ensure the law is enforced fairly and impartially. Your reputation, your connections, your threats, none of that will alter the proceedings. That is the law, Ms. Richards. That is justice. Victoria's lips parted as if to respond, but she paused, a subtle recognition that her usual tactics were ineffective. The courtroom felt the tension, the rare clash between privilege and principle. She straightened and addressed the judge carefully. Very well, Your Honor. Let us proceed and see how justice applies to someone like me. Judge Caprio nodded. Then let the trial continue. Counsel, please present the case. The lawyer on the prosecution side began outlining the evidence, municipal documents, photographs, and witness testimonies, all clearly showing the violations. Victoria listened, her usual smugness tempered by the methodical presentation. She tried to interject several times, claiming procedural technicalities or invoking her influence, but Judge Caprio cut her off firmly each time. Ms. Richards, he said, this court is not swayed by interruptions, innuendos, or claims of power. Your attempts to derail proceedings are noted but irrelevant. Focus on facts, or you will face consequences. Hours passed as the trial continued. Witnesses described the unlawful constructions, city inspectors recounted notices ignored, and neighbors testified about disruptions and hazards. Each time Victoria attempted to assert her influence or suggest she was untouchable, Judge Caprio countered with calm authority, legal precedent, and meticulous attention to detail. By late afternoon, it was clear even to the spectators that Victoria Richards' usual power plays were ineffective. The courtroom had witnessed her transition from confident untouchability to tentative frustration. She realized that no amount of status or threat could bend the unwavering principle before her. Finally, after the last witness was heard, Judge Caprio addressed the court directly, his voice carrying over the room. Ms. Richards, this court has reviewed all evidence and testimony. Your repeated claims that you are above the law are astonishing. However, astonishingness does not negate responsibility. The law applies equally to all, regardless of wealth, influence, or social standing. Victoria's eyes widened slightly, though she quickly masked it with a practiced composure. Your Honor, you are strict, I'll give you that. But we'll see how strict justice truly is when decisions are enforced in the real world. Judge Caprio leaned forward, his voice resolute and commanding. This is not about perception or reputation. This is about fact, evidence, and law. Threats, insinuations, and attempts to leverage influence will not alter the outcome. No one stands above the law, Ms. Richards. Not today, not ever. The room was silent, the magnitude of the confrontation settling in. Victoria realized, perhaps for the first time, that she could not bend this courtroom to her will. Even with her husband's political power, her wealth, and her connections, Judge Caprio's authority was unshakable. He raised the gavel, and the echo reverberated through the chamber. This court is adjourned for the verdict session. Prepare accordingly, Ms. Richards. The law does not negotiate with entitlement. As the gavel fell, the courtroom erupted into whispers and clicks of cameras. Victoria sat back, her face a mask, but the tension in her shoulders betrayed a rare uncertainty. Judge Caprio remained at the bench, calm, collected, and unshaken, a living reminder that in this court, no one, absolutely no one, was untouchable.